Welcome back to Katsonis. I imagine most of you have tried this ship, but I would also imagine that a huge part of you haven't tried this ship. And I would really much recommend this line because it's a good line. It's a really good line. Now, economic-wise, we have to remove the personal merits, of course, and then you see it really drops off without it. So it is doable to grind it without a bonus package, but it would make it easier. But I wouldn't say just use your boosters and you'll be fine. Signal-wise, we are fully signaled up. Upgrade-wise, the first three are always standard for DDs. Honestly, just do the recommended. You will be fine. Consumables, with Superintendent, 4 charges of smoke, 5 charges of engine boost, and 5 radars. You do want Superintendent. Module-wise, again, you want to fully upgrade it because then when you have the increased HP, you're looking at about 24K for HP on this ship, which is significant because it gives you the ability to be flexible, being aggressive, basically do whatever you want. And it is 11.5 with the upgraded range. Now, I did take basically main battery control. Main battery AA expert, which gives me the increased range. So with that, I was doing about 13.5. And so let's jump into the guns for that 13.5. 13.5 would be the range with the increased extra range, and your max dispersion would go from like 94 to like 117, 118. So you would, but I would honestly tell you, I did not notice a significant difference between the dispersion. I felt like the ship was still extremely playable and was still even more very comfortable to play. So I would honestly recommend that. But I'll give you my captain build at the very end for what I would recommend to run it. Torp-wise, 2 racks of 4 on each side. They're very awkward angles, so let's look at that for a second. That's where the torps are, so you're basically having to kind of wiggle the ship back and forth. If you're charging a target, drop one set, then drop the other set, and then just make a U-turn, basically. That's basically how you want to do it. That gives you the maximum ability to basically use the torps and then have your exit strategy planned out. You want an exit strategy on this thing. There were a few times where I did kind of get into a nasty situation, and I basically ended up just kind of smoking up and kind of backing up. I would say that was about a 50-50 survival rate right there. Maneuverability-wise with everything, actually extremely nice. It's almost 40 knots for a DD and a 5-second rudder shift. That's actually very comfortable. She's very comfortable. That's what I mean, like I had fun. The increased range, everything. I felt at home on this destroyer. I really did. Concealment-wise, standard 8, or with everything, 8. So you're going to drop down. You still will be able to stealth torp. Just be wary of like 10-kilometer radar. So like Annapolis, Buffalo's, and Des Moines. And then Cleveland's that have 9-kilometer radar. So be aware of that. Be aware of that radar, because that's what's going to kill you if you aren't careful. So basically for the build, I would obviously go, those 4, then here. And like I said, that does increase it to almost 24K, basically 25K, so a significant difference. Concealment goes down to 7.1 or 7.2, so still another significant difference. And then after that, I honestly took RPF. And the reason I took RPF is because, there are ops where you really do need RPF. And this is honestly a decent build for competitive-wise. Because you have the increased range, you have the ability to farm, and the RPF is critical for competitive-wise. So I basically did this because it kind of sets it up as a competitive build in case I get thrown into a DD. But that's honestly the build. If you didn't want to take RPF, you could take Fearless Brawler. It really would depend on your last 4 skill points. But those are basically the first 17 points. And that's what I would honestly recommend. But let's get into the replay and I'll show you what Katsonis does. Welcome back, folks, to La Katsonis, the Tier 9 gunboat pan-European, or European destroyer, technically. Team Jaeger, Buffalo, Varese, Delaware, Schlieffen, on Ardidi's home map, Aegis. Now, and the reason you might see me doing this on multiple of my replays is that, you know, when I do this in that, because this actually lets me see other people's builds, you know, what do they got on, what do they got, like, it lets me see everything. Again, completely legal mod, it's on Aslan, everyone can get it. I don't recommend it. The reason I don't recommend it is because it can be very disheartening at times. Even, you know, I told Devil and Cap, and they're like, that sounds like cheating, that's not fair. And I'm like, it's perfectly legal, it's on their actual thing. It's like, everyone can get it. How is it illegal if everyone can get it?
Stand by for action. Enemy approaching from the north. Enemy detected. Enemy fleet on the horizon.
And I mean,
That's the enemy vanguard.
why wouldn't they? I mean, I used Mod Station for a long time, but I'll be honest, before Mod Station, I was using Aslans quite a bit. And then I just got tired of Aslans, of, you know, the updating and something. There was a whole thing behind it. And then I think it was also because I was worried about the mods being illegal, so that's why I went to Mod Station. Now I just went back to Aslans because I enjoyed just the mods. I mean, the mods are just 10 times better.
Enemy ships detected in the northwest.
And we are charging the second wave. Thankfully, there was no Satsuma, so we're able to be a little bit more aggressive and use our torps more, and use our torps a lot more liberal. Now we do get both of our torp sets off, and then we can smoke up and start farming them. Ideally, that's what you'd want to do in the Katsonis. Is it always possible? Absolutely not. If the Jaeger had actually come out a little bit wider, he could have got more torps on there and done, because we're going to look at his torps. I see a ton of torps just kind of wasted. Let's see, I see about, what is that, like 5 torps wasted out of 12? So he got 7 hits and 5 misses. That's quite a bit for a ship that only uses torps. I don't know about you, but if I'm in a torp boat, or if I'm in a hybrid torp boat, I want to go for as many torps as possible hit, even if I have to be a little bit more dangerous. Now, in all honesty, if you're a Jaeger and you're on Aegis, just go out wide. Make sure you have Seversky on, and you could probably trigger your skill probably 3 to 2 times. Unfortunately, we do get super close to the Hydro, and we're kind of screwed as far as Hydro range goes.
Rowers need a break.
Like, if he had came out, he could have probably had 3 of those torps salvos going in. Like, and if he had come out wider, he would have been able to get a lot more on there. Like, let's be honest. Just trying to back up, just trying to get out of range. I think my detection's 7.2. Yep, 7.2, and I go dark. We pick up our ray. We just missed it with that back torp, unfortunately. Now we are able to get one drop on the Clausewitz.
Enter the mist.
Unfortunately, yeah, we are detected. We do pop our smoke. I think we've got like one smoke left after this. Still plenty of engine boost, still plenty of radars. We get a fire, heat ECPs. Double fire gets a flood. So double fires in a flood. So look at the damage going up. That's about 8,000 each second. That's quite a bit. That goes up very fast. And we pick up the kill with the flood.
Enemy trucker is in splinters.
Open fire, because, I mean, he's going to be focused on everything else. And then we can get some fires and maybe a few floods. Caught in the hydro, that's a fire. PCPs, 3 torps, no floods unfortunately. And that takes us to 424K.
Put your back into the ore. Attention, clarifying the order. Cover the retreat of our transport ships. Okay, fine.
Now the Jaeger and it looks like the Schlieffen are going to go for the battleships. I'm not going to bother because, I mean, if he has the Seversky on there, he's got to be very low on his torpedo, so I'm not even going to bother. There's no point. Now we're going to push the battleship. Again, our torps are only 9 kilometers, so by the time he gets there, you know, they'll be in range. I don't know what I was doing with that torp set. I do mess up a little bit of my torps, unfortunately, but, you know, this thing is more of a gunboat. We get a fire. No flood, unfortunately, but we do get a torp hit and a permanent fire. There's a double fire. I thought he was going to slow down and turn in, but he doesn't, unfortunately. Because they usually slow down and turn in, so I thought he was going to slow down and turn in. Now we're pushing it. We want this kill. We do pick up the kill, though. And we are going to get a solid, I think it's 5 stars.
Team stood with us today.
I believe it was 5 stars, I think, but we do end up with a wonderful 535k, 70k in ship XP, and a nice almost 4k in free XP. 500,000 credits made. Top the team with 2877, beating the Jaeger and Schlieffens and Varizis. Pretty good accomplishment there. Still make over 500,000, so not a bad game for the Pan Asian Tier 9. I forgot the name, Katsonis.